Hey guys, and welcome back to the podcast. We're so grateful that you're here to spend time with us. Today, we're doing a little bit of a special episode. It's an Ask Us Anything edition, AMA, Ask Me Anything. That's what it stands for. That's what the cool kids lingo is. Anyways, thanks for all your questions. We so appreciate them. And hopefully we do an okay job answering them. We've never done an episode like this before.
We haven't, and we picked out some of our favorites. It's going to be a little quickie, but I do have a funny thing on that note about AMA. So I have a friend who is a physician's assistant, and she was like, "What is an AMA?" Because in my world, it's against medical advice.
Oh,
And I was
that
like,
is.
well, we're millennials who hang out with, and work in the Gen Z world, so it's ask me anything for us.
Yeah.
Not exactly a
That's so
against
funny.
medical advice.
All right. Well, ask me anything. Here's our first
Yes,
question that we got. What has been the hardest part of being a mom? Do you want to go first? Or you want me
sure.
to go first? Okay, you go.
I think it's the pressure I put on myself.
Mm,
Um, and something I've really had to work on is just being nicer to myself, like not putting so much pressure on myself to be this perfect version of motherhood and just really accepting that I'm going to do it my own way
yeah,
and it's going to look the way it looks. And I know what's best for my baby because I know her better than anyone else in this world. And I think that's the thing though, but like social media is so crazy and all the things like today my mom sent me a video that was, here's why you should work on your child hanging from a bar. It helps their language development. It helps their breathing. They do better against respiratory. And I'm like, there's so many things that the internet is telling us that we need to be doing. It gets daunting. And like you try to do it all, and it's like, we just can't.
yeah,
And like our moms raised us and did a beautiful job with no internet. So I'm trying to embrace more of that and just silence outside noise and just trust my inner mom
totally.
intuition,
Yeah, yeah. I like that answer.
What
I
about you?
For me, the hardest part, I sort of took this in a different way. The hardest part for me is like whenever my baby, she's been sick twice now,
Yeah.
seeing her sick.
Oh, yeah.
That is torture to the 10th degree. I think that's been probably the most difficult. But then I'm also with you because I know we've talked a lot about this on the podcast and like showing ourselves grace and feeling like we have to be a certain way and feeling like so many other moms are doing XYZ and they're in this class and this place already
Right.
and I'm like I don't feel like my baby's ready to be in like a million different classes yet. I just want the time for me and
Yeah.
her and but am I like failing her development in that decision? But then I'm also like she's already pointing and clapping and babbling and talking and eating solids, so I think I'm doing an okay job.
Yeah.
But it's hard not to question everything, but also like you said, we know our baby better than anyone else. Like I
Mhm.
don't know how I know this, but I always know exactly what she wants without her even having to say words. Like I know when
Uh-huh.
she is thirsty. I know when she's hungry. I know when she's feeling uncomfortable. I know when she's tired. You just know. It's a
Yeah.
weird thing.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. This
It's
this is
the
my,
mommy intuition. I think all the other noise just muddles what
yeah.
we feel is right inside. And so it's like I always feel best when I just shut out everything else and I
Mhm.
just zone in on her.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Next question.
do you have any names picked out for your second baby yet?
Yes.
Are you sharing?
I
Is
don't know. Are you?
I'm not yet. Well, I
Okay.
guess when this airs, my baby will be here, so I can share it.
Okay.
First name is Collins, which is my mother's maiden name, and the
Love.
middle name is Maxine, which is my mother-in-law's mother's name. She passed away kind of tragically, and was a very much matriarch of that side of the family. Very, 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 very beloved. And Andrew really wanted to honor her kind of as a way to honor his mom. Um, yeah, just it was kind of a name dedicated to the two great women in our families. What
Yeah.
about you?
I don't think I'm gonna share yet because I I don't wanna share without talking to Jason
Yeah,
first about
fair.
sharing. But I will say it starts with an E.
Yes, I know what it is.
You know what it is. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm just not ready yet. And also, what if we last minute change our I don't think we're gonna
Totally.
change our mind, but yes,
Do
we
you
do
have a
have
middle
a
name
name.
picked out? I can't remember. I can't
We
remember if you told
do
me
yeah,
middle.
we do have a middle name, also an E.
Hmm.
Interesting. So,
I don't think
yeah,
I know the middle. Huh, interesting. Well, can't
yeah,
wait to find out.
stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
All right. How do you guys do the podcast? Is there a schedule?
Mhm.
Ooh, there is a schedule.
It's a lot. Katie and I talk a lot.
We
I
do.
actually made a whole Google Doc where I was like, just so you don't hate me, here's where I'm going to put everything I would text you that's not urgent, just so I don't forget, so we can talk about it when we hop on the phone.
Yeah.
But yeah, we film every Monday morning around 11 my time, 9 yours. And then on Thursday, same thing. And
Yeah.
we hop on the phone and we kind of keep track of stories we think are interesting prior to shooting.
Hmm.
We keep that all in a doc. We do a little pre-production meeting, maybe an hour before we film, get up to speed on those stories, hit record, and we do it live, man.
And then we take turns, who edits and does all the social videos
Yeah.
for that episode. And yeah, we kind of just divide and conquer. That's what you do.
Yeah. And when we have celebrity interviews, we try to stick on those days just because we are moms that have kiddos to take care of. But, we also respect that the women we're talking to are moms, so have kiddos they have to take care of. So we usually will say what's convenient for you. And those sometimes happen in the evening, sometimes random days of the week, but we try to keep it relatively routine
Hmm.
just for our sanity.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a good thing. We got a good thing going
We
2 month,
do.
2.5 months in, you know?
Yeah, I feel like we've somewhat figured it out.
Yeah. But if you guys have any suggestions, things you want to hear, things you want us to do different,
Tell
we're wide
us.
open. What has becoming a mom taught you about yourself?
Ooh.
Mm,
I love this question because I feel like there's so many different ways to answer it.
mhm,
I feel like, first of all, it's taught me how much my mom did.
mhm.
It's made me appreciate my own mom in ways, she always used to say, when you're a mom, you'll understand.
Yeah.
But you don't understand until you become a mom, just how overprotective you're going to be and how this person becomes your whole entire world. Aside from that, it's also taught me patience.
Mhm.
I think, I used to be a person who like always had to get things done at a certain time, and I had, to-do list galore in my phone, and now it's kind of taught me just to like go with the flow a little bit more. I do have Kaya on quite the schedule, quite the routine, which I am proud of myself for. But
Yeah.
it's also taught me, you got to just things change and you got to be easily adaptable. And yeah, it's hard. The first few months are really hard. You feel like you're just talking to like this little like person that can't really react to you. And you're like, do you like me?
Yeah.
Do you love me? And as their personality grows, you just, for at least for me, I became more and more and more attached. And now I feel like she's my little buddy. And yeah.
Yeah.
How would you answer that?
I mean, you said exactly what I was going to say, patience. You and I think what makes us so good at our job is that we are highly organized, can produce the shit out of anything, um, doers, shakers, planners, no details go unnoticed, unplanned. And it really has been the ultimate lesson for me in just letting go and loving the
Mm,
chaos. I'm
yeah.
not someone who thrives under chaos generally. Like, I'm the person who has, her schedule laminated for our in-laws when we're in the hospital. Like, I did that. But there are things it's just, I've had to embrace that the house is gonna be messy and that
Mhm.
that means my kid is thriving and playing and, it's really helped me to see the other side of the coin,
Mm.
like, if the
Yeah.
house is a mess, it's because my kid is having a great day. She's living her childhood. I don't wanna, be too rigid about that kinda thing, and the patience of, like, she's learning everything for the first time, she's learning to be a human, and I'm the one who has to show her how to do that. Andrew and I are setting the example, so if I'm impatient and I'm frustrated, I'm showing her that that's what we do, and I want her life to be filled with love and patience and compassion and all the things. So, yeah, it's just like a massive practice in letting go
Yeah.
and learning to love it.
Yeah. I love this next question because it's about motherhood, but
Mm.
not. How has having kids changed your marriage?
Mm. Do you wanna go?
Yeah, I think without even realizing it, your marriage changes. The love
Mhm.
doesn't change, but you both become different people because you are now responsible for the life of the person that you created together. So you can't just, be as, I don't want to say fun because I do feel like we're still fun,
Yeah,
but that like spontaneity kind of goes out the window. And
yeah.
you and your partner, at least for me and Jason, like we're much more like routine people now than we used to
Mhm.
be.
Oh, yeah, less
Like,
on
less
the
just,
fly.
like, on the fly, like, "Oh, let's go do this, let's go do this." It's you really have to think about things now, and you really have to, make sure, like, the diaper bag is all packed and ready to go, and, "Oh, wait, she has to eat at this time," and, "Oh, we have to be home for bath at this time," or,
Mhm.
"It's her bedtime." And so, I think in that, it just makes you, like, a little bit more I don't wanna use the word boring because again, we're not boring, but it just does make you that.
Yeah,
And I think that's probably how it's changed the most, and I do think we had this talk last night, like, when the second baby comes, we're really gonna make it a priority once we get through, like, those first few months of newborn life to really try and go and have date night, even if it's
yeah,
we're gonna have 2 under a year and a half, like, that's hard, but we're really gonna try once a month to just go and have, like, our own time together because I think that's really important to, like, get back to who we were, and I don't think we'll ever get 100% back, but I do think, there's something to be said about having, like, your own romantic, like, time with your person. To feel, that initial magic that you had before kids came along and put you in
yeah.
the routine life.
I like that. It's interesting you say the love doesn't change because for us, or I'll speak for me, the love did change, and,
Oh,
like, in a monumental way. Like, Andrew and I have been together since we were 21 years old, so
right.
we've grown up a lot together. I think I've said this before, we've fallen in and out of love with each other, like, 18 years is a very long time to be with somebody,
Totally.
and, especially in those really formative years when you're figuring out who you are as an adult and what you want your life to look like, and there have always been things that I've wanted from Andrew, like, to be a little more sensitive or protective or emotional. Like, I'm an emotional vomiter. Like, I have emotional diarrhea. I'm gonna tell you exactly how I feel, and I'm so in tune with what's going on inside that I can tell you at any given moment what I'm feeling.
Mm.
And it was like what I couldn't do in, I think at the time it was 16 years of being with Andrew. Overnight, the birth of our daughter ripped him wide open, and
Oh.
he's just this walking, tender, he hates when I say soft, but, like, he's just like this softer, more gentle, in tune, protective person, and it just I see him completely differently. It's like anything that was ever missing has arrived, and, um, yeah, just I like, it deepened my love for him so, so much. Like, if I loved him before without those things, like, now having them and see the way he falls just melts when she runs to him and hugs him, or the way he bought a
Yeah.
shirt that says "Girl Dad," like, his pride in being her father deepened my love for him in ways that, like, I truly don't even have words for. So, you know, it changed our marriage for the better. Is it harder? Sure. Like, do we have at the end of the day, we both exhale and, like, sit on the couch and don't say a single word
Mhm.
to each other sometimes because we're just exhausted, but we're, like, doing the most important thing you do in life together and, like,
Mm.
bringing this perfect little being up together, and so, you know, marriage is different, but like you said, we'll find our sexy again, we'll find
Yeah.
our date nights again, um,
Totally.
but I like this season of us for
Yeah.
sure.
It's a new season. It is like a whole new
Yeah,
world, and it's fun to figure it out together with your person.
totally.
Like,
Let's see. What kind of mom did you think you'd be before having kids, and were you right?
ah, that's so interesting. Do you wanna go or you want me to go?
Yeah, I can go. I think that I thought I was gonna be okay, so here's the thing. Everyone has always told me I was born to be a mom. And I think it's because I'm crafty and I'm really loving and I am a nurturing person. Like I do think I have those mother qualities. And like yes, I'm the person who's going to show up with have cookies after school. Like I think people just they were thinking of that stuff, but that stuff doesn't come until your kids are older. So I think
Right.
like I didn't really think about like the being a newborn mom and being a toddler mom and like teaching your kid how to like, you know, pee on a toilet and use a fork and these other things. And so I think probably when I will shine the most is to come.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
What about you?
It's funny because I think when you think about yourself becoming a mom, I don't know why, but you don't at least for me, like, I didn't think of all the little things. I just thought like,
Mhm.
"Oh, I'm gonna be a good mom." I
Yeah.
just thought like, I'm gonna figure it out. I was terrified, I won't lie about that. Like, I was
Yeah.
definitely terrified. I thought that I wouldn't be a helicopter parent, but I think in a weird way I am that.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I don't, it's like I read, everything that's going on in the news because I want to know what's happening. But then I'm like, am I scaring myself for absolutely no reason? I even texted you the other day about like the bird flu stuff.
Yeah.
And, even like when we have help with someone watching her, it's like I'm so meticulous about how it's done. Even like with Jason, and he's like, I'm her dad. I got this. But I'm
Yeah.
like, but what about this? And what about this? And
Yeah.
I really need to learn to let go a little
Mhm.
bit, and so that has surprised me.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
interesting.
that's really surprised me a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know. Thought I'd be, like, so chill and
And
yeah, and in some things I am, like, sometimes when, she's really wanting to walk lately, and so she stands up and she's trying not to hold on to anything as she
mhm.
stands up, and when she falls, my instinct is to, like, rush over, but now I'm learning to be like, "Okay, what do we do when we fall? We get back up," and I try not to make it a huge deal, and she's fine because 'cause I'm like, if I make it a big deal and she literally fell, like, 2 inches just, like, on her bum when she's standing, like, that's not a big thing,
Right.
but so, yeah,
Yeah.
that was a long answer. There's a lot
Just
of things
letting
that have
go.
surprised me, yeah.
Yeah.
2 more questions. How did your second pregnancy compare to your first?
Oof. I've talked about this a lot, so I won't go too in depth, but, with Dylan, it was a natural pregnancy. We planned it, happened quickly. First trimester, I was a little bit tired, a little nauseous, but otherwise, I felt great. I worked out, I slept well up until the day she was born. It
Mm,
was a dream pregnancy, could not have been more wonderful. This pregnancy, we conceived via IVF, so it started off intense, a lot of emotions from the get-go, a lot of shots, whole first trimester. I have felt like complete shit, the entire time.
Yeah.
It's been incredibly uncomfortable. I'm winded. I'm here at the end and I feel all the things. I'm swollen. I Any shitty side effect you can have from pregnancy that isn't dangerous, I'm experiencing. So, um, you know, I've experienced it all now, the good and the bad. How about you?
Um, Mine I feel like I've talked about a lot too, so I'll keep it super short. This pregnancy without so I'm opposite of you. The first one was
Yeah.
IVF, so that was presented its own challenges for sure and was hard, but there was like a peace of mind in knowing it was a healthy embryo and this one I think in having them so close together and also the symptoms being amplified this time, I was definitely nauseous with Kaya, like, especially as I got into it's weird, like, more so in, like, the end of the pregnancy, I was more nauseous, but now I've just been, like, nauseous the entire pregnancy,
Mhm.
and that's been really hard. My body's just, like, more tired this time around.
Because
The first
we're chasing toddlers, I
word
think is the
is that might be and the
yeah.
first one, I remember, like, I literally started a business
Yeah,
in the 2nd trimester,
right.
and I, like,
Who
look
are
back, I'm
you?
like, "How the F did I freaking do that?"
Right.
So, yeah, this one is just yeah, it's a little bit more challenging. I think the sickness is really the hardest part. The puking is hard when also, yeah, you're caring for, you're the main caregiver of your child. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard, it's hard. But we're doing
It's a
it.
very niche form of torture is what I say, being pregnant whilst taking care of a toddler.
Yeah.
It is no
Yeah.
joke. All right,
Last
last question. What advice would you give to women entering motherhood?
mm, I want to say like I don't want to give them so much advice because every pregnancy and every baby and every person is so different. That being said, I wish, it's kind of the things that like we've been talking about recently. It's like give yourself grace.
Mhm,
That's like the most important thing that I think as women we need to tell other women is like you don't need to listen to every single outside voice telling you what to do or how to do it or trying to like interfere in the way you're doing things. Like you do things how you want to do things. And yeah, give yourself grace because there's so much changing, by bringing home a child. And then there's also so much changing inside of you in terms of like hormones and your body and your identity. There's just a lot of change. And so I think the most helpful thing would be give yourself grace and then try to like embrace those changes as much as possible. For some reason, I felt like I was like fighting them a lot.
mhm.
Like the body changes were really, really hard for me. And I think like the different identity, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I'm like a mom now." Like that's
Yeah,
weird and you're used to just like being on your own and getting to do things as you want to do things and oh, you want to go do this on a Saturday morning? You go do it. And that was hard for me. And now
yeah,
the more that I've like embraced it, the better it is.
I
What would
hear
you
that.
say?
I would say one day at a time,
Mm.
one day at a time, and just know that whatever you're facing today that's hard will be a distant memory in a month. There's always something
Mm.
new. So the faster you can learn to just pivot, adjust, not take anything too much to heart, like your baby is going to be fine. Yeah, just one day at a time, tackle one day at a time. Don't take on too much. Also, find the smallest ways to fill your cup every day because I loved this. Nia, we had her on the podcast and she said, if you find ways to fill your cup, then you're pouring from a full cup when you go to be with your family. And I do think that's such good advice. Like, even if it's just God, taking a shower, like small things, it doesn't have to be monumental, but something for yourself every day. The littlest thing. For me, it's lactation cookies that are delicious in the morning for breakfast. Like just something to bring you a little bit of peace, joy, comfort, self-care.
Yeah.
And yeah, show yourself grace because it is so hard, but it's the best thing we'll ever do. And I think if we focus so much on how hard it is, we miss
How
these
good it is.
beautiful, very fleeting moments with our
Yeah.
babies. So try to stay present as much as you can one day at a time.
I love that. One day at a time.
Yep.
And grace, grace, and more grace.
Grace
All
upon grace.
right. All right, you guys, thank you so much for listening to today's special AMA, AMU.
Against
Ask us
like
anything.
yeah,
AUA. Wow. A
AMU.
AM
Oh, wait, no,
AU
ask us.
AUA.
Oh, yeah, anyway.
We're
We're
fine.
smart.
We're good. Um, yeah, thanks. And remember, you guys, motherhood is a sisterhood. We appreciate you. And keep coming back because we so appreciate it and we're growing and our hearts are filled by that. So,
Yep.
yeah, have a good rest of your day. Bye.
Bye.